This is how a trustee sale works. All right, I, Charles, the lender, am going to lend you the money to buy your beautiful new home. I don't trust you, and you'd better not trust me. We are going to sign a promissory note. The promissory note says, Charles, I promise to pay back the $360,000 over the next 30 years at 8% interest, blah, 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 blah. You sign the promissory note. Then, because I don't believe you're actually going to pay me back, I want you to give me a security instrument in the property. And that security instrument in Arizona and most Western states is going to be called a deed of trust. And the deed of trust says, if you don't pay that note, I can take the property. And because we don't trust each other, first, we've got to find another drunk in the bar to help us out. And I say it like that because if I'm at a bar and I bet that I can beat you in a game of pool, and you bet me $20 that you can beat me, I don't trust you, you don't trust me. We both take our money and go find another drunk in the bar. Let's call her Sally. And we give her our money and we say, please hold on to this. And these are your very specific instructions. If I win, give it to me. If he wins, give it to him. All right, those are your instructions. The drunk is what we call in the world of real estate, the trustee. And this is how it works. Harry wants to buy a house. He doesn't have any money, so he comes to me to borrow some. I give the money to Harry, and he's going to sign the security instrument. And that security instrument is called a deed of trust. When you're signing something that's called a deed, then what are you doing? You are transferring an ownership interest in real property. So Harry signs this deed of trust. He is now going to transfer ownership of that property to Sally, the drunk in the bar. That's what he's doing. I give him the money. Harry signed the deed of trust, transferring ownership to Sally. Since Harry is transferring the ownership, he's doing the giving. What's his label? Trustor, because the ors are doing the giving. And the E's are the ones doing the receiving. So the trustee doing the receiving would be Sally. I benefit from this little relationship, so I am the beneficiary. And this is how it works. Trustee has these instructions. Look, if Harry pays off the note like he's supposed to, I'll tell you he's paid it off. And then I want you to reconvey the property back to him. So in order to do that, to transfer an interest in real property, Sally has to sign what? A deed. And she's giving it back to Harry. What kind of deed would reconvey the ownership back to Harry? A deed of reconveyance. If, however, Harry is a deadbeat, like I suspect he is, and he doesn't pay, then I notify Sally and he's in default. Let me back up, because that's not how it works, right? He's got a certain period of time and he's allowed to be in default before I can start foreclosure, right? So when he doesn't make his payment, he's in default. After he's been in default the required amount of time, then I can start the foreclosure. And I tell Sally he's been in default the required period of time. She starts the non-judicial foreclosure. And this is what she does. First, she schedules a sale date. And that sale date has to be at least 90 days away. It could be 93, it could be 123, it could be 98, doesn't matter. It has to be at least 90 days away. Sally sends Harry a notice of sale. She goes down and records it. And what did we learn about recording? Once you've recorded, it's constructive notice to the world, right? Whether they know it or not. She then needs to make sure that our homeowner now knows there's a sale. And in Arizona, we're really concerned about making sure they know. And this is how we do it. It's called nail and mail. She goes out to the property, she tapes it to the door, and mails him a copy. Then Sally publishes a copy of the notice for 4 weeks in a paper that no one reads. And that's it. No actual notice is required at all. If he just happens to be spending the summer in beautiful Monte Carlo and he doesn't get the notice because he hasn't been there in his mansion the last 3 months, bummer for him. No actual notice is required. File, publish, nail and mail. That's it. But there are other people that might have an interest in this property. So the trustee is going to do a title search and find anybody that may have a claim or interest in the property. And then she has to make sure they get noticed. And how does she do it? Sends it registered mail. That's it. She sends it via mail. Now, poor little suntanned Harry has up to 5 o'clock the day before the sale to pay up to stop the foreclosure. That's his redemption period. In class, we taught you 90 days before the sale, right? Because that sale date has to be at least 90 days away. The real rule is anytime up until 5 o'clock the business day before the sale to redeem. Period. All he has to do is come up with the payments that he's missed, the late fees and the cost of the foreclosure, and then he's redeemed himself. And the way the deed of trust works from that point on is no harm, no foul. He makes the next month's payment just like he's supposed to. All is well. There's no acceleration, there's no harm, no foul. So let's say poor yacht-loving Harry can't redeem himself by 5 o'clock the day before the sale. The trustee will now sell the property in order to pay me off. When the trustee sells the property, the highest bidder at the auction gets what? I'll give you a hint. It's going to have the word deed in it because it's the transfer of ownership in real property. And who's going to give that deed? The trustee. So what do you suppose we're going to call it? We're calling this a trustee's deed. And here's a little bit of a twist. She, Sally, has only 3 days to record the trustee's deed. Unlike the deed of reconveyance, the thing that Harry gets when he actually pays it off like he's supposed to, and they reconvened it back to him, Sally has 30 days to give him that one. But when we're taking it, she's got to record it in 3 days. So she sells it. She gets a big pile of money. What does she do with the money? First thing she does is pays out the property taxes because they're first in line. Property taxes get paid. Then she pays herself. Then she pays me, the person that did the foreclosure. Right after these people have been paid, whatever money's left over then goes to whoever's standing in line for whenever they stood in line. That goes straight in order of priority. If we paid everybody off and there's still a pile of money left, then it goes to the current owner. Now, if Sally sells the property and it sells for less money than was owed, there's something called an Arizona Trust Deeds Act. And the Arizona Trust Deeds Act, if the property is 2.5 acres or less, a single family residence, you are not allowed to get a deficiency. Take the property and that's all you get, period. If it were a commercial property like a gas station, you borrowed $1 million to purchase and then spilled a little bit of gasoline, oops, went out of business, became a toxic wasteland and you stopped making payments, it gets foreclosed on and sells for a single dollar. The balance of the $1 million originally borrowed is called a deficiency. In a commercial property, the lender can come after you. It's not automatic if it was a deed of trust foreclosure. What they would have to do now is go file a lawsuit and sue you for that deficiency. And if they win, the judge will sign a judgment, and that's just like any other judgment. And that's how Harry met Sally. I mean, that's how it works.